Another thing I want to do to my header is actually change the font to something a little more Russian-esque, I guess. And when I Googled Russian font, I got at the font over here, I got some examples of what I was going for, and this is exactly it. Now, I have a few options on how I could do this. Probably the first option would be to use the text replacement technique with CSS, which is essentially I'll align this text somewhere to the left or to the right, a lot of pixels so you don't see it, and I'm going to set a background for H1 to be a picture that I made of, St. Petersburg with Russian text. And that's honestly, it's going to render the way I want it to, but obviously the downside is that anytime I want to change my text and anything like that, if I wanted to change the color or the size of it or the number of things I could change, basically instead of doing it in my CSS, I have to edit a graphic document. So that's not what I want to do. Okay, that's one of the easiest ways to go. Well, actually, I'm going to ultimately where I'm going with this is what I think is the easiest way to go, but that is obviously an easy way, but it has the obvious drawbacks I just stated. Another way is to use this thing called SIFR, right? And basically this technique is, I forgot what the acronym stands for, you could just look into it yourself. Essentially, here's an example of it. This text seems like regular text because even when I copy it and I paste it, you see how it comes up, right? Exactly what I pasted. Did you notice that? So I pasted this text, and just look at the URL for a second. I'm not going to enter it, but there it is. So you're like, oh, this is like just normal text. Well, actually, this is being rendered via this SIFR, which is actually Flash. So whoever visits your page is going to need Flash in order to see this properly. Now, the obvious drawback of it is that they need the Flash plugin, but the assumption is the Flash plugin is so popular anyway that you almost assume that I think it's like 95% of everyone out there has the Flash plugin. So it's pretty safe to say that at least with this technique you're going to reach about 95% of your audience. It's cool, it works, and obviously the drawback is that there's 5% who aren't going to see it. That's little, but the advantage is that you get to really pick your own text. And this particular technique has a lot of options to it in the sense that you just need to find yourself a true type font. And I'll give you an example. If you go through the font over here, you could see that I think most of these are in true type. It's TTF. And you pick whatever font you could find. Obviously, you're limited legally by the copyright of the font, what you could use, and it's going to convert it for you, and you could just use it on your page. Real easy. Hey, that's all great, and this even has a jQuery plugin that really makes it really simple to do. You just convert your font to Flash, and there's an online engine that does that without having to install anything. You plug everything into your page, and Viola, it just works. But in the next video, I'm going to show you an even easier technique, and that is the Google Font API. And this thing is way easy to use. I mean, extremely easy to use. You basically just visit the font, you find the one you like, and this is actually the one that I thought was the most Russian-esque, I guess, for my application. You click on it, and then it's literally just a matter of adding a style sheet to your document, and then adding a CSS attribute, which is specific font name, into your CSS document. So, whoa, why not use this all the time, you say? Well, because currently the Google font directory is pretty limited. They don't have a lot of fonts, but I'll tell you what, they do have a good assortment. So if you want to use a custom font for your page, meaning one that that's not cross-browser compatible or within the constraints of what's considered web safe, the first place I would look now is the Google font directory, because since it's so easy to use and Google's hosting it, it's likely to grow and grow, and maybe by the time you even see this video, there'll be a lot more fonts than I currently see.